Claude, what is this garbage? Okay, deep breath. This is my website. Claude did this to it about a minute ago because I told it to show me what it would look like in a retro style. This was the site this morning, and this is what I've now got instead. A 90s website. Ew. Fortunately, putting it back is going to take about as long as a sip of coffee. Watch. Hey Claude, restore the homepage to the last checkpoint before this task, but keep the retro version for later. 10 seconds, like it never happened. There was no backup folder, no panic, no final v2 final. The 90s just unhappened. And if that looked like magic, well, it wasn't. It only works because of something I did before Claude edited a single file. Skip that one thing, and there's nothing to restore to. Here's what you missed. That's me asking Claude to change the homepage to a completely different style. Full retro, like a 90s website. It was a genuine experiment. I actually wanted to see that. And it delivered. It's all in Comic Sans, and there's a green visitor counter that proudly puts me at number 1337. But here's the thing nobody tells you. An AI agent has no let's do it just to see what it would look like mode. There's no preview and no mockup. Whenever it does something, it rewrites the real files. And without the thing I did first, the homepage I had this morning would have stopped existing the moment Claude started typing. And the day this happens to you, it won't be a funny retro theme. It'll be the thing you actually care about. My coffee stayed warm through the entire thing. That's because the gap between AI ruined my website and undo it in 10 seconds, please, that is not my technical background. It's not talent. It's 3 steps. I call them the save point protocol. By the end of this video, they're yours to run wild with. The second step is the one that lets you say, give me 5 completely different directions of this project without holding your breath. And stay for the very end. This save button never forgets, and there's exactly one situation where that stops being a superpower and starts costing people real money. Here are the 3 steps so that you already have the map. Checkpoint. Save before the AI touches anything. Branch. Always make the AI work on a draft and never directly on the real thing. Restore. The 10 seconds you just saw. Every step is one sentence to Claude. No commands, no menus, nothing to memorize. The bot does the work and you just watch it happen. I'll walk you through each one on my real project and hand you the exact prompts as we go. And we'll finish on the real money mistake, the one beginners make constantly. After today, you won't. The thing making that undo button work? You already know its famous address, GitHub. But GitHub is just where projects live online. We'll talk about that in the next video. Today, we'll only look at the engine underneath, the thing on your computer doing the actual saving. It's called Git, and it's how software engineers keep from destroying each other's work while on the same project. I've used it for years. It has over 150 commands and documentation that reads like it was written to make you give up. So here's the hot take that might get me kicked out of the engineers club. You don't need it. Almost none of it. For what you're doing, pointing AI at your own projects, you need a single mental model and the 3 steps that your bot already knows how to do. The 3 steps have exactly one job: to make an AI mistake cost you nothing. Once a mistake costs nothing, you stop hovering over the bot like a nervous manager and start directing it like someone who can afford to be wrong. So let's get you that mental model that I promised. This whole machine, the save points, the undo, all of it, it has an official name. It's called version control. Quick theory and no homework because you already use it. You've just never called it that. Open any Google Doc. File, version history. Every version of that document going back months, and you can click any one of them and just be there again. Git is that with 2 important upgrades. 1. A save point isn't a copy of the file you're currently editing. It's a copy of the whole project at once. Imagine it as taking a snapshot of the whole world at a specific moment in time, rather than just the one room you happen to be standing in. 2. You decide when. Google Docs saves whenever it feels like it. Here, you can say, this version works, remember this, with a short note about why. Which means you can retire the system you're using now. You know which one. I've seen your desktop. I've had your desktop. That ritual is version control by hand. What I'm about to teach you is the same ritual, automated. Every save is a neat little dot on a timeline with an actual note instead of increasingly desperate capital letters. Here's my actual website project, the same one you saw a few minutes ago. The folder, the files, and the saved history, all in one bundle. Developers call that bundle a repo or a repository. You'll hear the word everywhere. It just means a project with a timeline. First step, the thing I did before Claude typed a single word. We checkpoint. I'm in VS Code. This panel is VS Code's own built-in view, the so-called source control graph. You don't need to install anything to use it. Every version of my project is laid out here on a timeline. And here's the deal for the whole video. You never touch this panel. It's a dashboard, not a control room. We read it, and the bot makes the changes. If you use a different tool, don't worry. Every coding editor has its own version of this timeline. Your bot knows where yours is. Just ask. So here's the entire first step. I tell Claude, if this project isn't under Git yet, set that up first, install anything missing, and walk me through it. Then check that nothing secret is included, and commit everything that's working with a message describing where we are. That word in the middle, commit, is dev for saving. Other tools might say checkpoint or version, it's the same thing. And there it is. Watch the timeline. A new dot right at the top with its note. Working homepage before redesign. That dot represents a save point, a project state I can always come back to. Think of it like a video game. You would never fight the boss without saving first. Two parts of this prompt are worth a closer look. The opening means it works on a brand new project too, even on a naked folder with zero history. The same sentence and the diary starts today, day 1. It even covers a computer that doesn't have the machinery installed at all. That's what the install anything missing part does. Claude sets up what it needs, asks before it does, and walks you through the 1 or 2 clicks that are yours. You never find out what the tools are called. And the nothing secret part, that's not for decoration. We'll soon get to that part because it's essential. Before we move on, let me quickly teach you how to read the timeline. Every dot is a save point, a full snapshot of the whole project at that moment. Newest at the top, oldest at the bottom. The line between them is just time passing. Next to each dot, there's a note somebody wrote when they saved, the why. And this label, main, that's just this timeline's name. Right now, it's the only timeline my project has. In step 2, we'll deliberately create a second one, a draft, and that's when main starts to matter. It becomes the official timeline. 2 dev words for all of this, so nothing on the screen ever startles you. Every dot, and the act of creating one, is called a commit. And if you ever see the word push, that's sending a save point up to GitHub, and I'll show you how that works in the next video. Today, everything stays on your machine. Commit, save. Push, send. That's it. And once you can read it, it's secretly kind of great. This is my real history. Look! This one says, add first published video to the homepage strip. I remember that day. When you use Git, it's as if your project writes a diary about itself. Yours will read like this too once you instruct Claude to start checkpointing. And if a timeline ever reads like gibberish, because it has a messy history, don't try to decode it by yourself. Ask your bot. Walk me through this project's recent history in plain English. What changed and why? Claude reads the dots and hands you the story. A solid first pass on any repo, including the one you're going to abandon in February and crack back open in June. By the way, a few minutes ago, you couldn't read a project timeline and had no idea what the repo was. Now you can. You speak engineer. This is the part where I'm contractually obligated to mention the like button. Hit it quickly so that we can move on to the next part. One more thing about when to checkpoint. Don't save only before danger. Anytime your project hits a state you're happy with, it works or it looks right, checkpoint that too. This is important because a restore can only take you back to a dot that exists. The more good dots on your timeline, the easier it is to get back to safety. And before step 2, I have a confession. That 90s disaster you watched me undo, that was me with the habit. There was a checkpoint waiting. The calm wasn't courage, it was a checkpoint. Step 1 of 3, done. Step 2 is the one I promised you, the one that lets you experiment without holding your breath. Branch. The step that separates experimenting with AI from gambling away a good project state. Let's change the hero section on the homepage to make it more visual. Most people would point the AI at the real thing and say, go. That's the boss fight with no save and your eyes closed. Instead, I'll use this one sentence. Hey Claude, create a branch called Hero Redesign and do all your work there. Don't touch me. And now there are two timelines. Look at the graph. Both names are sitting on the same save point because that's where the experiment starts. From the last thing that worked. Main stays parked on the good version, and everything Claude does next stacks up on the experiment instead. With this in place, we can go back to making changes to the website. So I brief Claude. Redesign the hero, bolder, more visual. This time it's happening on the branch and not on main. Here's the part that trips everyone up, so I'll say it before it trips you. There is no second folder. A branch isn't a copy of your project sitting somewhere. It's a second timeline for the same folder. The folder works like a screen and not like a box. It shows one timeline at a time, and this little label in the corner tells you which one you're standing on. Watch what a switch looks like. I'll have Claude flip me over and back. Put me back on main for a moment. Now let's go back to the branch we're working on. The first time you see that, it looks like something broke, like your work just vanished. It didn't. Everything you checkpointed is safe on the timeline you left, and switching back brings it right up again. A switch never overwrites anything. A quick look through, nothing broken, nothing missing, the parts I care about are all still here, it's good enough to ship. So this experiment is allowed to graduate to main. Merge this branch into main. Look at the graph. The two lines join back into one. That's what merge means. The draft just became the official version and is now part of the main timeline. On a team, this moment runs through a page called a pull request. The draft gets checked and discussed before it becomes official. Since you're working solo, the sentence is enough. But hold on to that main. Next video, when this project gets a home on the internet, I'll show you that page and why you'll want to use it even when working alone. And if Claude wrecks the branch instead, or the experiment's just a dot, no problem. I switch back to main and throw the experiment branch away. Main never has to know about our failures. 2 steps down. Checkpoint so nothing is ever lost. Branch so that experiments can't hurt the real thing. Which brings us to step 3, the one you came for, restore. Getting back to safety when the thing on your screen is a complete wreck. And you've secretly already learned it. It's the switch from step 2 pointed at the rescue. So let's go back to where this video started, the 90s homepage. You watched me undo this in 10 seconds over 1 sip of coffee. Now we replay it because this time you can read everything that's happening. Restore the homepage to the last checkpoint before this task, and don't delete the retro version. Keep it on its branch so I can pull it up again whenever I want. It finds the save point. That's it. Every tracked file, tracked just means it's part of the timeline, goes back to exactly how it was. Every file the bot rewrote gets undone in one go. And the 90s version? It's not deleted. It's still right there on its branch, dots on the timeline like everything else. Restore moves you back. It doesn't erase the history. At work, we'd call that a rollback. At home, I call it the eye roll button. Because that's the full emotional cost of the disaster now. 1 eye roll. Now, a simple rule. If you forget everything else from today, remember this. Delegate the saves, but keep the undo authority for yourself. Claude creates the checkpoints and reads the history. It runs the branches. But the restore fires only when I say so. If the bot broke the project, the bot doesn't get to quietly decide what fixed means. It can propose a solution, which I then approve. It can even find the spot for me. Which save point was the last one where the homepage worked? Claude can answer, but nothing reverts until I say so. And now the part I promised you at the start. The moment this timeline's perfect memory starts costing people real money. Because the timeline never forgets, and that cuts both ways. Checkpointing also remembers anything secret that might sneak in. Think of API keys, passwords, that .env file that AI tools had you create. Those should never ever go into a checkpoint. Be aware that deleting a secret later doesn't help. It's already in history. It's the one place the undo button works against you. So how do you make sure a secret never gets saved? Not by being careful, but by making a list. I told you earlier that a checkpoint saves the whole project. Well, it saves almost all of it. Every project keeps a short list of things that should never end up on the timeline through a file called .gitignore. Anything on that list is untracked. It sits in your folder, it works just fine, it just never gets saved into history. That's what the check nothing secret clause in the first prompt is doing. It's making sure that files like .env are on that list before anything gets saved. Keep that in your prompt. And if a key ever does slip through, consider it burned. Get a new one issued, don't just delete the file. It doesn't help. That's the entire safety lecture. You're now ahead of 99% of Git beginners who have already committed their API keys and are paying for strangers to abuse their bots. Now, remember what the protocol really buys you. Once a mistake costs nothing, you can change your project freely. You stop babysitting every word of the AI output. You start saying, give me 5 completely different directions, one at a time. You try each direction on its own branch, park it, hop back to main, and send the AI off in the next one. 5 drafts, 5 branches, none of them touching each other. Then you simply switch between them and just look around. You can compare all 5, pick the winner, make that one official, all in a single sentence. Everyone assumes that technical people are brave with AI. We're not brave. We have backups. You don't need courage if you have an undo button. And as of today, you have one too. Checkpoint, branch, restore. That's the whole protocol, but it's not the whole story. Right now, your entire timeline lives in exactly one place, your laptop. If the laptop dies, the timeline dies with it. In the next video, we'll supercharge this undo button by using GitHub to ensure your project gets a copy in the cloud. Subscribe, and I'll see you there.